My dear friends, the greatest tragedy of life is not that people aim too high and miss, it is that they aim too low and hit. The infinite source of all creation is not intimidated by your dreams. It is only limited by the size of your asking. Too many live as though they are beggars before an unwilling giver, asking for scraps when they have the right to feast at the table of abundance. You were born with a divine inheritance, not to merely survive, but to thrive, to create, to expand, to shine. The universe is not moved by your small, cautious requests. It is stirred by bold visions, audacious faith, and hearts that dare to believe the impossible. And today, I will show you 5 truths that will set you free from small thinking and lead you to the life your soul has always known was possible. When you ask for little, you prepare yourself to receive little. The size of your request sets the size of your life. A person who asks only for what they think is possible is living within the walls of their own self-made prison. Those walls are built from past disappointments, fear of failure, and the belief that it is safer to stay small than to risk asking for more. Yet life was never meant to be lived behind bars of limitation. The moment you dare to ask for more, the universe begins rearranging itself to meet you at that higher level. When a farmer plants seeds, he does not plant enough for one meal. He plants for an entire season's harvest. Imagine a farmer sowing just 3 seeds in the soil because he fears the ground cannot handle more. His harvest will be as small as his faith. In the same way, your life's harvest is a reflection of the faith you have in what you ask for. Small requests do not stretch you. They do not awaken your creativity or call forth your hidden strengths. They keep you comfortable, but comfort without growth slowly becomes stagnation. Those who dare to ask for more are not greedy. They are in tune with the truth that abundance is infinite. The ocean never runs out of water when one wave crashes upon the shore. The stars never dim because you lit your home with light. The universe is vast and overflowing, but it can only fill the container you bring to it. If your container is a thimble, it will be filled. If it is a barrel, it will also be filled. The choice is not the universe's, it is yours. When you limit your requests, you also limit your identity. You tell yourself, I am someone who only deserves this much, or I am someone who should not expect more. These beliefs are like invisible chains holding you down. But when you dare to request greatly, you declare a new truth about yourself. I am worthy of more. I am ready for more. I am willing to rise to meet what I have asked for. That declaration sends out a signal, and life responds in kind. Think of the greatest inventors, leaders, and dreamers throughout history. They did not make small requests of life. They asked for the impossible, a light that could burn without flame, a machine that could fly, a cure for diseases thought incurable. If they had asked small, we would still be living in the dark, chained to the ground, and plagued by illness without hope. Their greatness began not in what they had, but in what they dared to ask for. Your life will always rise to the level of your request. If you ask for enough to merely survive, survival is all you will know. But if you ask for a life rich in health, love, wealth, and purpose, and believe it is yours, you step into a stream of abundance that never runs dry. Stop shrinking your dreams to match your doubts. Stretch your requests to match the size of your true potential. For the one who dares to ask greatly, life will always answer greatly. The universe responds to faith the way a seed responds to sunlight. It turns toward it, draws strength from it, and begins to grow. But not all faith is the same. Quiet faith waits timidly, hoping things might work out. Bold faith steps forward as if the promise is already kept. It does not tiptoe into possibility. It marches in with confidence, knowing that what is asked for is already moving into form. The universe loves this kind of faith because it is alive, vibrant, and certain. Bold faith does not bargain with fear. It does not ask, what if I fail? But instead declares, I will succeed because it is already mine. This is the kind of faith that builds bridges where there are no roads, opens doors where only walls once stood, and calls forth abundance from what looked like emptiness. It is not reckless. It is rooted in the knowing that the source of all creation is limitless, and therefore, so are you. Consider the story of a man who was offered a small job in a struggling company. Instead of turning away because it seemed insignificant, he accepted it with the faith that it was a stepping stone to something far greater. He showed up each day with the energy and vision of a leader, not an employee clinging to scraps. Within a year, he was promoted to a position he had once only dreamed of. His bold faith transformed an ordinary opportunity into a golden door. Bold faith acts before the evidence is visible. It sows seeds when the ground is still hard from winter, trusting that spring will come. It speaks words of abundance when the bank account is empty, knowing the tide is turning. It applies for the position, starts the business, or takes the first step before the perfect time arrives, because it understands that the perfect time is created by action, not by waiting. The universe loves bold faith because it shows you have aligned with your own divine authority. When you stand in that authority, you are no longer a beggar at the gates of possibility. You are a rightful heir to the treasures of life. The energy of bold faith sends out a clear signal: I am ready, I am willing, and I am certain. And life answers with opportunities, resources, and encounters that match that certainty. History remembers those who walked with bold faith. They faced storms, opposition, and uncertainty, but they kept moving because they believed in the unseen outcome more than the visible obstacle. Every breakthrough, every great work, every miraculous turn began with someone who dared to believe without evidence. Your own life will change the moment you decide to stop hoping and start knowing. When you speak with conviction, act with confidence, and hold your vision as if it is already complete, the universe will rush to meet you. Bold faith is not about forcing the outcome. It is about standing so firmly in belief that the outcome cannot help but find you. The supply of the universe is infinite. It has no shortage of wealth, opportunities, health, or love. It does not measure out blessings in teaspoons, nor does it ration miracles according to what seems possible to human understanding. The only limit is the size of the request you are willing to make and believe in. If you ask for little, you prepare your life to hold little. If you ask boldly, you open the channels for abundance to flow freely into your world. Many people live as though the universe's storehouse is nearly empty, as if every blessing they receive takes away from someone else. This belief shrinks their vision and their expectations. They pray for just enough to get by, just enough to survive, when in truth, the supply is so vast that they could ask for a life overflowing with goodness. Imagine standing at a vast ocean with a thimble in your hand. No matter how many times you dip it, the ocean will never run dry, but the size of your vessel determines how much you take away. Life responds to the measure of your faith and the scope of your vision. A small request says, I do not truly believe there is more available for me. A great request says, I know the source is limitless, and I will prepare myself to receive in abundance. The universe matches the capacity you set, not because it cannot give more, but because you have declared, consciously or unconsciously, how much you are willing to hold. Consider the entrepreneur who only dared to ask for enough business to cover his bills. He received exactly that, enough to survive, but never enough to expand. Only when he raised his vision and began planning for growth, seeking clients beyond his comfort zone, did the opportunities multiply. His request grew, and so did his results. The supply had always been there. It was his own limits that held it back. This principle works in every area of life. Ask for small love, and you will receive relationships that match that request. Ask for small health improvements, and you will receive small changes. But dare to ask for radiant well-being, for love that is abundant and joyful, for wealth that overflows. And watch how life rearranges itself to meet that vision. The universe delights in filling a large order. It is not impressed by cautious, half-hearted dreams. It responds to clarity, confidence, and the boldness to say, I am ready for more. Your request is the signal that tells life how wide to open the gates. The supply waits for you to stretch your imagination, strengthen your belief, and make room for more. When you realize that your request sets the limit, not the supply, you will never again shrink your dreams to fit your fears. You will expand them to match the infinite nature of the source itself. And as you do, you will find that life becomes richer, fuller, and more beautiful than you ever dared to imagine. When you dare to dream big, you awaken parts of yourself that have been sleeping. Small dreams ask little of you, and so they stir little within you. They keep you moving within the familiar, the safe, and the predictable. But when you set your sights on something vast, something that stirs your soul and challenges your comfort, you call forth strengths, talents, and courage you may never have known you possessed. A big dream is not simply a vision of a better life. It is an invitation to grow into the person who can live that life. It pulls you upward, shaping your thoughts, your habits, and your choices. It demands that you rise above the voices of doubt and fear, both within and around you. And in this rising, you discover that you are far more capable than you once believed. Think of the seed buried in the soil. If its only aim were to become a tiny sprout, it would need little sunlight, little nourishment, and little resilience. But because it is destined to become a towering tree, it must push through the darkness, reach for the sky, and endure the winds. Its potential is revealed through the magnitude of its growth. Your own potential works in the same way. Consider the artist who once painted only for herself. Her small dream was simply to create and keep her work hidden. Then one day, she envisioned her art hanging in galleries across the world. That vision required her to learn, to share, to face criticism, to refine her skill, and to believe in her worth. In pursuing the larger dream, she uncovered abilities and confidence that had been hidden beneath layers of timidity. Life has a way of matching your effort to the size of your vision. Big dreams ignite creativity and resourcefulness because they require you to find a way where none seems to exist. They demand patience and persistence, and in cultivating these qualities, you expand your character. Each challenge becomes a teacher, each setback a step toward greater strength. The beauty of a big dream is not only in its achievement, but in the transformation it brings. You may set out to build a thriving business, run a marathon, or heal a broken part of your life, but along the way you gain discipline, resilience, and wisdom. These treasures remain with you long after the dream is fulfilled. The universe is eager to reveal the depths of your gifts, but it waits for you to stretch your reach. A small request keeps you in shallow waters. A big dream calls you into the deep, where the richest treasures lie. When you give yourself permission to imagine boldly, you send a signal that you are ready to explore the fullness of who you are. Dare to dream so big that it excites you and scares you at the same time. For it is in the pursuit of such dreams that hidden doors open, unseen helpers appear, and the truest version of yourself emerges. In chasing something greater, you become someone greater. Life was never meant to be lived in the shadows of fear or in the confines of limitation. The very nature of the universe is expansion. Galaxies stretch outward, rivers carve new paths, and seeds burst into flowers and towering trees. Everything in creation is designed to grow, and you are no exception. When you choose to expand, whether in thought, action, or vision, you align yourself with the very rhythm of life. Shrinking, on the other hand, is an act of resistance. It is the folding in of your light, the quieting of your voice, the retreat from possibility. You may shrink to avoid failure, to please others, or to protect yourself from disappointment, but in doing so, you signal to life that you are content with less, and life, ever obedient to your belief, meets you there. Expansion is not always comfortable. It requires stepping beyond the familiar, taking risks, and embracing the unknown. But it is in this very discomfort that your soul grows strong. Think of a bird whose wings ache the first time it dares to fly. Yet without that stretch, it would never know the sky. In the same way, Your dreams and abilities are revealed only when you allow yourself to grow beyond your current boundaries. History is filled with stories of those who chose expansion over shrinking, the inventor who faced countless failed prototypes before creating something that transformed the world, the writer who dared to pen a story no one believed would sell, only to touch millions. They could have played small, staying within the walls of comfort, but they understood that the reward lies in stretching towards something greater than what is. The universe rewards expansion because it is the language of trust. When you take bold steps toward a larger life, you declare your faith in abundance, in possibility, and in your own worthiness. You open the door for new opportunities, connections, and resources to flow to you. This is why so often, once you begin to expand, life seems to meet you halfway, placing the right people and circumstances in your path. Even in times of uncertainty, expansion is the wiser choice. To shrink during difficulty is to retreat into scarcity, but to expand is to plant seeds for a future harvest. The farmer does not stop sowing when the weather is unpredictable. He plants all the more, trusting in the seasons. Likewise, when you keep growing in faith, skill, and vision, you prepare yourself for the moment when conditions align in your favor. You were created to be a vessel of continual unfolding, to shine more brightly, love more deeply, and give more freely with each passing day. Every time you choose to expand, you give permission for more of your divine potential to be expressed. So step forward, speak louder, dream wider. The rewards you seek are not found in hiding. They are waiting on the other side of your courage. The universe is not asking you to shrink. It is calling you to rise, to stretch, and to fill the vast space that was always meant for you. My friends, the universe is not bored with your life, but it may be bored with your small requests. Ask for the promotion, the dream home, the global impact, the love story that makes your heart race. Ask not as a beggar, but as an heir to the infinite kingdom. Dream so big that it scares you a little and excites you a lot. For in the realm of the infinite, the size of your dream is never the problem. The only question is, will you dare to ask?